It's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, friends. I'm back again. I completely forgot to plug this, that we were going to do a preview after the darts, and we are going to do a preview today of Aston Villa versus Leicester. If you didn't catch a great chat I had with two lads earlier on, Brian from the Dortmund Dispatch and from Michael from Football Aranya about Daniel Mallon, go back and check it out because they gave a really, really honest review of him. And yeah, I think it's one that all Villa fans should hear, I think, for sure. But we worry about that when we need to worry about it if it ever does become an Aston Villa thing. But what very much is an Aston Villa thing is the fact they need to get 3 points, and they're playing Leicester this weekend. And Paddy, what's your feelings, I suppose, number one, on this game at the weekend? Do you think it's a trap game? Do you think it's a game Villa should be looking to go out and stamp their authority in this game? What way are you feeling about it?
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, Neil, and Happy New Year to everybody. I haven't been on in 2025, so my pleasure to wish everybody a Happy New Year that I haven't spoken to yet. How am I feeling about it? I just don't know anymore. I just don't know. I'm still broken after the last couple of games, to be honest. Difficult one to call. Leicester have been bang average, let's face it. Below average. We should be absolutely winning this game, but I think I've said that the last two games that we've played, and look where we're at. So it's a difficult one to call. We've obviously got injuries, suspensions. The team sheet is going to be interesting to see what he pulls out of the hat and see what changes that he makes. Some of them will make themselves. But I honestly have zero expectations because I'm a little bit broken.
I think Villa are going to win tomorrow. I'm just going to come straight out of the backs. I've
said that all along, so I'm trying not to say it.
I did a Leicester podcast there yesterday, and they aren't confident about this at all. Like they're two centre halves. The guy I was talking to, he said obviously the two centre halves are going to be Conor Cody and Vestergaard, and let's be honest, regardless of who we have up top, we should be able to maneuver in around those guys. Cody's a spent force. Vestergaard has never been a guy that's able to track a run. And so we should be able to get something going in between there. James Justin on the right-hand side, they're absolutely terrified about what's going to happen there because they said, just like us, they were saying that a lot of the attacks come down their right-hand side and they expect us to target him. Obviously, we're going to have Digne. We won't have Morgan Rogers, which would be great to have tomorrow, but we won't have him. I'd imagine Jacob Ramsey will be out there on that left-hand side. Excuse me as I stifle a yawn. Nothing to do with Jacob Ramsey, though. I would imagine Ramsey would be out there on that left-hand side, and that we should be able to try and press on press some authority down that left-hand side, our left-hand side, their right-hand side. But it's going to be interesting to see how we set up for this one. Like a guy that I used to kind of shake my head at and go like, how is this guy getting England caps and everything? I've actually been pretty impressed with him this season, and that's Harry Winks. He's going to be in there beside Soumare, and they're probably going to have that young fella, Bilal El Kounis, probably Mavrididi, and then Buonate, who scored against us. Didn't he scored against us earlier on this year as well, with Vardy up top. So, you know, their team, I think, is going to do a lot of picking itself, as will ours, because they've got a ton of injuries coming into this as well, and we've got a ton of suspensions. So,
isn't Harry Winks one of those players where I think he just has a funny name, and people have just decided let's slag this young fella? Look at the career he's paved out for himself. He 6 consecutive seasons with 30 plus games for Spurs before going to Sampdoria and then back to
I know
Leicester.
You would have a soft spot for him with Sampdoria anyway, Paddy. Them being your Italian team.
To be honest, He was one of those characters that I would have laughed at until he went to Sampdoria, and he absolutely found a lot of love in Sampdoria for him, and he's come back and he did very well last season. Played 48 games in the Championship. He's a good player. You know, he's capable of playing in the Premier League for many years to come. Whether Leicester stay in the Premier League for many years to come is debatable, but yeah, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that he is quite a good player and has gone under the radar for many years.
He's very metronomic, you know. He's somebody who'll keep the ball moving. You know, he's not going to wow anyone. I think that's, you know, you said yes, his name potentially. The fact that he does look like he could be in a boy band, like he looks like he fell at the final hurdle being in One Direction or someone like that. And then the fact, you know, he's not an eye-catching player. He just keeps everything moving in the middle of the park. That's what he does. And kind of like the Leicester guys I spoke to, they've been very complimentary of him. They said that he's been exactly what they've needed in there, just to try and keep things moving, albeit their season isn't going great guns at the moment. But yeah, look, I still think we have, like, he wouldn't get in our midfield. I think that's fair to say. And actually, I think the biggest conversation about what's going to happen with Aston Villa tomorrow will come from our midfield, because I don't know. I just have a funny feeling he's not going to play Bailey tomorrow. I don't know why. I have a funny feeling he's going to go Ramsey, Kamara, Tielemans, Onana, McGinn. Is that like in those midfield positions, whoever's in the pivots, whoever's playing in the 10 and whatever, and I think he's going to go with that tomorrow. And McGinn on the right hand side, Ramsey on the left hand side, probably Tielemans a bit further forward. So I think we'll be able to negate, and that would be the reason I bring that up, is that Tielemans will be trying to tread balls through Harry Winks and Soumaré and through their two centre halves, and I think that's probably the best way for us to go.
Possibly, and as we keep saying, we don't second guess what he's going to do. I know Leicester have had a difficult season, but I'm going to make a prediction here, right? It's the 3rd of January. I think Leicester are going to stay up. Having watched a few of their games recently, I think they're knocking at the door of getting a few results. And if they could bring in a couple of players, even on loan, to shore up that defence, I think they'll start picking off teams. I think they'll start getting victories. I watched them the beginning of December against West Ham, and you know they won 3-1. West Ham obviously pretty bloody average this season as well, but have been picking up results. I watched them last week against Manchester City. I thought they were very unlucky. Jamie Vardy, I think he was just offside so many times, but they're trying their utmost to pick teams off in that way, and it is going to come about. Whether that's Jamie Vardy, whether it's Patson Daka, it'll probably be Vardy tomorrow. But we've got to be careful, because they'll want us to play the high line. They'll drag us out of there, and it's gonna need Emi Martinez on the edge of his box mopping up, just in case they break that offside trap. Because at the moment he's struggling a little bit to get in behind on time, but we know he's a wily old fox and he's well capable of doing it. And if it's Patson Daka, it's just a question of him. He can beat these players over 4 or 5 yards. So if he gives himself 4 or 5 yards and that extra second of space before he actually makes the run, maybe he can do it. But they're definitely a threat. I do believe they've a possibility of staying up. It's very, very tight down there, and we have to treat them with the respect that they deserve, because you know there's a number of wily old foxes in there capable of getting a result. I say wily old foxes twice about Leicester.
I think you did, yeah. You wait for a wily old fox for 100 or 200 podcasts, and then 2 come along and 1. You know, so that's
and I'm talking about the foxes, which didn't help anyway.
And the foxes, exactly. Wily old foxes, exactly. Yeah. It's where you've written that one down beforehand. They've got a lot of injuries, Paddy, and I think some of the big ones. Their goalkeeper is injured. Mads, what you call him, Hermansen is injured. Very good goalkeeper. He's out. It looks like the young Polish guy whose surname I'm definitely Jacob, but I'm definitely not going to be pronouncing his surname. He's going to be in goals at 24 years of age.
Stolarczyk?
Stolarczyk. No, I did. I said I wouldn't, but I tried, and I probably made a balls of it. He's going to be in goals tomorrow. We have to capitalize on that. You know, whenever we are down our first team goalkeeper, other teams capitalise on that. So we need to be cute enough to do that. They're also going to be down Abdul Fatou, should I say, huge player for them. Indeed, he's not going to be there. Caleb Okole apparently is looking to get out of Leicester again for whatever reason. I don't know how true that is, but I'm reading a couple of things on it. Today, it looks like he wants to go back to Italy, which he will have no problem getting a move. I think he's a super player, but he's not going to be there. Wout Faes might not be there either as well. He's out injured. Who else have they that's out injured? I'm just looking down through their list here. Casey McAteer is injured as well. Ricardo Pereira is injured too. So they've got a lot of big names that are out, and that's all this. Plus, I think Aston Villa at home are a different beast than they are away. I think it's going to be a Villa win. I also think that as I said, the setup is going to be very much contained in that middle midfield, without Bailey in there. I don't look. I could be 100% wrong that he plays Bailey or whatever. Maybe he doesn't start Ramsey, but I think that I think there's going to be an Onana, Tielemans, Kamara in that midfield somewhere. I think from the start. And I think that's probably what the eye-opening thing for a lot of people will be. They'll go, I didn't think he'd play all three of those guys together. But and sorry, McGinn will be in there some way, shape, or form as well. So be interesting team tomorrow when we do see it.
Well, I'm interested in the fact that you did mention that Tielemans might play a little bit further forward. I think that could be the key. I think without a ball carrier, we're going to need a player who's going to be able to facilitate that ball through the final line. It's definitely one for Tielemans to do. Whether he can do that from that deeper position against Leicester, maybe he can too. But we will be we're not exactly fluid with goals here. So where the goals going to come from is my biggest worry tomorrow. I read a stat today: Bailey, McGinn, Ramsey, and Tielemans. Neither have scored a Premier League goal this season. In years gone by, when our strikers weren't firing, midfield were rowing in with goals behind them. That's 4 players that probably should be contributing 10 between them. Not happening for them. So that has to come. I hope it's tomorrow. If we win 4-0 and the 4 of them score, happy bloody days. But we're relying on the fact that the only ball carrier we have, other than Ramsey, is out of the team tomorrow. So we're relying on Ramsey to bring the ball forward and to play a through ball to somebody to hopefully unlock this defence, which should be lockable with what we have at our disposal. But Ollie Watkins has an off day. We're going to need the others to come in behind and score goals. Absolutely.
I think the reason that I think McGinn is going to be in there, and the reason I think Onana, that there's going to be just those 4 kind of central midfielders, as we would classify them, are going to be in there. It's because McGinn has carried the ball an awful lot more recently. You've seen him carry that ball through midfield, whether it be on the wings or whether it be mostly through the centre. So I think that's why he's going to be in there, is to try and get that ball carrying piece. Bailey hasn't really carried the ball very well this year. He's been grand when he's gotten the ball closer to goal, but he's not been somebody who can get the ball. He's never been somebody who can get the ball, but he's back to goal and maybe on the halfway line turn and then break forward. And that's what McGinn gives you. And I think that's what Unai Emery's going to want tomorrow. Fast transitions, get the 2 centre halves turning. As I say, Conor Cody might very well go out and be the second coming of Baresi tomorrow, but on the balance of probability and where he is in his career and stuff like that, if this was 5, 6, 7 years ago, it would be a different conversation about him. But I just don't think he has that turn and that step anymore, and he's a smaller, more diminutive centre half. The other guy could be an extra for odd job out of the if there was ever a remake of that James Bond film. He's a big hulking strong defender. He doesn't want to be turned either. So carrying the ball, driving at these guys, making sure that they're backpedaling is going to be really important. And Ollie Watkins is good at that. The big thing with Ollie Watkins, and I said it after the last game, is he just needs to back himself to just have a crack. If it goes 10 yards wide, it goes 10 yards wide. But what's going to frustrate people more is that extra touch, the ball getting nicked away from him, a block when he's like 12 yards out from goal and he decides to take a shot there after taking 2 or 3 touches, and then it gives the defender time to get back and get a block in. I want to see him not do that tomorrow. I want to see him have a crack, see if he can pop one in the top corner, or see if he can catch the goalkeeper unawares like Joanne has done, and set the tempo early. Villa should be setting the tempo early tomorrow with shots. Get your shots on target, test the young goalkeeper, get an early goal, and then keep driving forward, because that's what's going to breed confidence in this game. And I think if we do get confident early on, obviously don't concede, and we score, then we should be able to run out. Maybe we are going to concede at some stage because that's just what we do. I think we have the horses, even with players being out, to win 3-1 tomorrow. If we apply ourselves correctly. But Aston Villa have been a bit flaky this season from that point of view.
And we're just struggling to score that amount of goals. That's what worries me. If the fact that we're conceding late goals and early goals, we just can't afford to do that. And especially against, if you're conceding chances to Jamie Vardy, he will take them. So we can't afford to go behind here because the goals aren't coming, the shots aren't coming. Our strikers aren't scoring 2 or 3 a game, on a weekly basis. So something needs to give. I hope it's tomorrow. I hope it kickstarts our season. I'm still a little bit defeated, as I said from the other night. I feel like we lost Champions League football in the last week. I just can't see how we're going to force our way back into it. I know we can go on a run and do it, but have we got the bodies to do it now? I don't know. So a lot of talk about incomings. There's got to be some outcomings as well. So something has to give. I don't mean to be negative.
On the 3rd of January, I think we could see up to 4 players leave in January. And I've never been that guy that's come and said stuff like that, because I've always said, listen, it's addition, not subtraction for this. But just where we are, I think the club need to kind of get things going again, freshen up. Sad and all, or not sad and all, but like mad and all as it seems. We're here talking about, Villa are beginning to stagnate and stuff like that. The club would be looking at progressing even further in the Champions League. They'd be looking at this going, right, if we get an automatic and a home draw, bring on any team. 1 game across a game in Villa Park, absolutely bring that on in the Champions League and then see where it goes from there. So they're going to want to strengthen. We've been linked with players. Some of it's a lot of nonsense, but some of it is going to be true. And we will see maybe a turnover of 2 or 3 players, I think, this in January to try and freshen things up. But who they will be, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I believe that will happen. I do believe it will happen. I believe there has to be change. There has to be freshening up. There has to be pressure on people to perform. So some people react to that pressure. Some people don't. So we've had 6 months now of Leon Bailey not being the Leon Bailey that we had last season. That needs to be freshened up. We tried it with Jayden. Didn't work. That needs to be freshened up. Jayden could be one of the ones that goes out. We both have our opinions on Diego Carlos. I think if an offer comes in, he's out the door. I think Robin Olsen is out the door. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, I would imagine. So
I think Buendia is probably gone. Jayden, there'll be people move out on loan. Like, I'm not saying that people are going to be just sold for the sake of it, but there'll be positions that will be opened up, I think.
Yeah, we saw Lewis Dobbin come back today and go straight out. That could happen with Louis Barry, although I do believe Louis Barry might be given a chance. Just let's see what he can do in training, and then they've got to decide, because obviously he can't go and play for another team if he plays any games for us. So we'll just have to we'll have to trust whatever the manager does in the next few weeks, because once he plays him, we've got to keep him for the season.
They're going to sell Louis Barry. They're going to do a Philogene and sell him with a buyback. It just makes too much sense.
I'm not so sure. I have a feeling Louis Barry could stick around till the end of the season. Just have that feeling in my gut. Just with what he's done. I know it's only League Two, but look, if you look at the stunning goals he scored, brilliant playmaker, holds up the ball very well for a small, diminutive kind of guy. We are obviously holding the aces in his contract, so why not see what he can do? I'm not saying he's going to come in and tear the place up, but if we got 2 or 3 performances out of him between here and the end of the season, he might be worth holding in that squad. But look, we got to see what goes out in the meantime. But I don't see Louis Barry going out until at least the last week of the transfer window, if we haven't done anything in the meantime.
Look, as I text you today, I couldn't care less if they name a team and they have Ken McNaught and they have Alan Evans, two centre halves.
Evans.
Yeah, tomorrow, and John Gidman pops up somewhere there. I don't care who they play. I'm not married to any players because when you're in the trenches like this, and when Villa have let a couple of results slip over the last 12 weeks or so, when you're in the trenches, it doesn't really. It's not about this player, being proven right that this player is good or that this player is bad or anything. It's just about getting results. That's all it is. And I couldn't care less. So if Louis Barry comes back and he gets a chance, he starts in the left wing, he starts banging goals in, and he keeps Morgan Rogers out of the team, or he keeps Ramsey out of the team, that's positive for Aston Villa. So like you were saying there, play them all. Play whoever Unai Emery thinks is the best person to unlock a defense. Play them. Like, you're going to probably see Ben Broggio on the bench tomorrow. Are we probably?
Yeah.
His time. Could his time be now as well? Yeah. It's like, could we be in a situation whereby maybe Unai Emery starts to see, like, Buendia hasn't got a whole pile of minutes? Like, could it be a situation whereby he goes, look, someone's after coming in here with a bid for Buendia, going to let him go, and we're going to bring Broggio up to take his place. I'm not anti-Buendia, don't get me wrong, I'm not jumping down Buendia or anything like that. He's been at the club for quite a while. But do we see the cost, the relationship to getting that money in for Buendia, and then if we're not going to give him a ton of minutes, would we be better off giving Broggio minutes? That's the kind of calculations that the squad building is going to have to. It's going to have to come down to squad building. I expect them to buy players in. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to sell players and replace them with academy players, but does the club maybe even become better suited or better served by doing something like that? I don't know, but we'll see about it all. I wouldn't even be too surprised to see Broggio on the bench tomorrow with the injuries that we have, or one of the strikers from the academy to be on the bench tomorrow. Given that we only have Watkins, but look, and no Rodgers. Like, if Watkins pulls a hammy in the first 20 minutes, who goes up top? I actually don't know. I'm not even sure who goes up top. So there will be there will be something in there, that we will have to talk about. So
I know everybody was looking at the darts tonight, and I was too, and it was fantastic. I loved it. But I was also watching two other games were ongoing. Enzo Barnechea was playing for Valencia against Real Madrid, played the full 90 minutes. And an unbelievable game between Vitória Guimarães and Sporting Portugal. A 4-4 draw was after Guimarães going ahead in the 89th minute. Anyway, that's besides the point. Someone's asking about Barnechea. I don't think he's going to come back in this window, but I think he's one for the future. He looks like a baller. He looks like an absolute baller. I think they'll leave him there for the season. Illing Jr. is a little bit different. He's not getting enough games. I think that might need to change. They might bring him back and send him out somewhere else. We need players who are on loan playing games. We need them developing. We've looked at what's happened with Louis Barry and Toss. Could we be doing with this? Could this be a cheaper option? Could this be a way around FSG and saving a few quid, bringing in a player who can
FSG around Fenway Sports Group, FFP, Paddy,
PSR, whatever they want to call it. I know they don't call it FFP anymore because there is no financial fair play, as we all know. So that's why they've changed the name of it. But you know what I mean. Illing Jr. I could see coming back and being sent out somewhere else to get game time. Possibly the Championship might suit him if he's not going to get games in Italy. Was there something else I was getting to at that point? I can't remember.
I have a stunning turn of events. Here's my absolutely stunning turn of events tomorrow. The team sheet gets named, and you see Rory Wilson on the bench, and an announcement that he signed a new deal with Aston Villa, and comes off the bench and scores a goal after we're 2-0 up, and he breaks it 3-0, and then we concede in the 94th minute because we will always concede. But there you go. There's my far-fetched.
That would be a nice turn of events in a January transfer window. As would Boubacar Kamara signing a new contract in the next few days, make us all very, very happy. So let's watch that space and see what happens. But
like even
look, Rory Wilson,
the reserves, or the under 21s, like the strikers, like is it going to be Kobe Moore? Is it going to be Charlie Lutz? Is it going to be Kocher that they've just brought in? It's just going to be interesting. We're going to need another striker on the bench tomorrow. And I have no idea who that person is going to be.
Jamal Aloba, is that how you pronounce his name?
Aloba, yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone will have to step up, and apparently every time I bring up Rory Wilson, somebody tells me in the comments that he's injured. Maybe he is injured. We'll see.
I know that he doesn't have a squad number anymore. So make it up what you will.
You reckon he's gone off the well, we usually have a program to hand here. I don't. Filling in my sticker book.
He doesn't have a squad number, and Kobe Moore does. If memory serves me, because I remember I saw all the officially designated squad numbers. Now, that's not to say he doesn't get one. He hasn't been near the first team squad, so maybe that's why. Like Kobe Moore has, Jimo Aloba has been. You have one. Ben Braggio, Caden Young, they've all been near the squad. So they all have squad numbers, if I'm not mistaken. So
don't see Braggio, Young, Svinkel, Ziyech, Bogard. No, don't see Braggio.
Maybe Travis Patterson might be there as well. Yeah. Well, we know Patterson has a squad number because he's been named in the squad this year. So
right,
Aidan Borland would definitely have a number. He's been named in the squad this year as well. So we'll all know tomorrow at the same time. That's for sure. But that would be one of the more interesting things: is who are they going to use as that auxiliary striker? I could just turn out to be Robin Olsen. Who knows? Bring back Chris Samba. That's what I say. Bring back Chris.
The world's number 9.
Yeah, the world's number 9.5. Yeah. Right. I think we're going to end it at that. Just in case anybody can't see it in my face, I'm struggling with a chest infection at the moment, and this very nearly didn't happen. So I'm just we're going to cut it at this, and we'll be back again tomorrow with Sheet Tantrum and post-match podcast again. Thanks a million for everybody for watching. If you didn't see the piece that I did with Michael and Brian from the Football Arena and the Dortmund Dispatch earlier on today on Donald Mail, and they were really honest with regards to their reviews of him, go take a look at it and give a comment underneath it. Say thanks a million to the lads, because a lot of you guys will be familiar with Michael. He's been on the podcast a lot of times before, but Brian was great. Spoke really well about him as well, and gave a very, very fair and honest assessment of Daniel Mallon. So go and take a look at that too. And of course, if anything breaks in the next while, you'll probably see me back here. But until then, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and did I see there? No, it's just Emery talking about Nedeljkovic potentially going on loan. Oh, well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.